I'm 31 years old, just like Charlie Kirk was when he got assassinated yesterday. And even though I'm just a random Swedish guy, he actually changed my life. And I'll tell you how. Unlike Charlie, I grew up the least politically interested person on planet Earth until a few years ago. I've kind of been on a journey to try to understand why people seem so divided in the world today. And on this quest of consuming content to learn, I quickly realized how unbelievably biased and corrupt traditional media is. And on top of that, we live in a world full of out-of-context, short social media clips that for some reason people base their opinions off of. Thankfully, I eventually found out that unedited, long-form content and interviews are by far the most accurate way to get an understanding of what a person or a movement actually thinks. And Charlie Kirk was an amazing source of this type of content for me. I could open up a bunch of 2-hour YouTube videos full of extended, unedited civil debates. Some of the things he said I agree with, and some of them I didn't. But I was mostly interested in the arguments from the people that he was talking to. Consuming as much of this type of content as possible really gave me like a clear picture of the broad spectrum of the, political opinions that are out there today. But what I loved most in Charlie's debate specifically is that he always tried to find like common ground.
It's a 430-page report.
I want to try to find common ground here, okay? I want to try to find common ground.
Regardless of who he was talking to. And I think that exact thing is what's missing in our world today. The desire to approach whoever's on the other side of the table with an open mind and a curious heart. To shake their hand and say, I don't agree with everything you're saying, but I respect you and I honestly can see where you're coming from. It reminds me of something that Larry King said in one of his final interviews that I was blessed enough to produce.
Donald Trump said, "Make America great again." I would have said, "Make America curious again."
If we can all just remember that if someone disagrees with you, it doesn't make them a Nazi or a fascist or an extremist or a racist. The instant labeling and grouping of people, it's exhausting. What if we instead start asking each other questions and try to explore why the other person thinks the way that they do? Sounds a lot more productive to me. And think of it this way, if you grew up the way they did in their family with their culture, you had the same life experiences they did, you would have the same opinions that they do today. So instead of judging others for what they think, maybe we could just be a little bit more curious. I think of our society and politics as one giant big tree. The trunk is the actual core values that create the foundation of our society that we all agree on. It's that common ground that keep us together. The basics that we all want, safety, happiness, freedom, and then the tiny branches that stick out from the trunk are the issues that we may disagree on. Sadly, it seems like most people don't view, politics and society this way, at least right now. It seems as though most people think the tree splits into two way further down the trunk, meaning we have way less things in common, and the divide between left and right is huge, and that we have completely different values from each other. I truly believe this is like a false perception of reality. I get this sense that people think we're more split than we actually are, and I can only assume it's because of these extremely divisive narratives that are constantly being spread on traditional media, and then you add on top of that this like anonymous nature of social media, where people say crazy things to each other that obviously further this perceived division. I think it's pretty clear that as people, we naturally care for each other. Like, you can drop me basically anywhere on the planet and very quickly I'll be able to find a stranger who's willing to help me out. And I think it's really important to remember that 99.9% of people agree on the fundamentals. Let's not fall for the lie that there's a big difference between you and the person you disagree with. They're human too. And whether you're spiritual and you believe that we all come from the same source, call it consciousness, or if you're Christian and believe that we're all made in the image of God, even who you think is your enemy is worth that acknowledgement. And Charlie, he lived that to the fullest extent in the most civil way possible by having conversations with people. My final thought on all of this is to look in the mirror, and this is for me too. Like, peace outside in the world starts with peace inside of us. Like, happy people don't hurt other people. My hope is that more people can disagree and still love each other. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk.